Welcome to everybody. Today's online workshop, the 7 steps to writing successful grant application. So thank you so much for taking the next 45-50 minutes out of your day to learn about how to write successful grant applications with me, Liz Fleming of the Grants Club. So today I am in Queensland, Australia, and most of this information in today's workshop is generic nature across anywhere in the world in terms of related to grant applications, but there will be some specific references to grant directories in Australia only. So I know that we do have some international clients online from America and the UK. So be rest assured that the majority of the information is still relevant. And if you have specific questions around America or the UK, please do get in touch. So if you do have any questions throughout the webinar, please pop them into the chat with the letter Q, and I will do my best to answer them as we go. And there will be opportunities where I'll outline how it is best to work with me later on in the workshop, and also how to get in touch. So that's all I had to say for a start. Thank you for joining me live. I know a lot of you will be watching this on the recording or on my YouTube channel, so thank you. And as people keep reminding me that I do love talking about grants, I can talk about grants all day. So I do implore you to get in touch if you have any questions, send me an email, and we can chat about how grants can grow and expand your business or your organization and get that money in your bank account. So as small business owners, we are already too busy and we always also don't know what is required for a grant application. And the grant programs normally are released with a 4 to 6 week open period, which is not long when we're already busy. We are already doing too much. We're already time poor. We are already understaffed, and we don't have the skills to do it all. So these are some of the issues that are out there in relation to grants, and why a lot of people just ignore them and just don't want to deal with them. And I get it. I absolutely get it. I'm a small business owner as well. And this is why I offer this service, because I want people to get that free money. A business grant does not have to be paid back like a business loan, which is a bit of a misconception, a common misconception that a lot of people do have, whether it be the community group, not-for-profit, a business. Majority of the time, or all of the time, they do not have to be repaid, unless, of course, you don't execute the project that you applied for. But I do want to ask you this question. Sitting here today, how much free money are you missing out on in grant opportunities by not knowing what is out there? So I just want you to ponder that for a moment. We've all got projects, we've all got things that we know will grow our business, we've all got things we need to spend money on, and we're just not doing it. And we're also missing out on those grant opportunities when they are available to us. So this is why we're here today, because we can learn how to bend the no, and also be able to write that successful grant application. So I'm Liz, the Efficiency Coach, a grants coach, a chartered accountant, and a business mentor for small business who is passionate about helping small businesses to find those grants, write those grant applications for them, and get that money into their bank accounts so they can grow and expand and execute that strategy plan so that they can have the business that they desire and dream of, not the one that we're currently in, treading water or constantly on that hamster wheel. It is my aim to assist and support businesses to become completely aware of what's going on in the grants ecosystems, and so that you've got the tools and the toolkit to be able to tap into when those grant programs come out, and so that we can make a successful grant application to have that approval and be on our way to executing those projects and plans in our business. So I always start this workshop with a bit of a geeky admission that I do love writing grant applications. To me, they're no different to a business plan. They're no different to a strategy plan. But what I love about them is that I need to learn about your business or organization. You are the best place to know what's going on. You've gone through it all. You've developed it all yourself. So I don't know anything about your business or your project. So I need to extract that information out of you to be able to put it into the grant application so that we can write it in the best light and allow the assessors to give that tick of approval to the best projects that are out there. So I have worked 15 years in corporate as a chartered accountant and finance manager. And I also did a couple of years in government agencies here in Australia. And that really opened my eyes to the world of grants. I just had no idea that this money existed, that these programs were even out there, and that people could apply for them like you and me, small business owners, and we could develop projects and programs that were going to fit that criteria and those objectives and get free money from the government. I have an 85% success rate in writing grant applications, and last year it was 88%. So I'm pretty proud of that. And you know, some grants we do our best and we just don't know who's going to assess them. It's a very competitive process. We don't know who else is going to apply, and we don't know what they're really looking for as well, and what other factors are going to be taken into consideration when they are assessing. So there is a little bit of unknown there, but what we do need to make sure is we put our best foot forward, showcase our project and our business or organisation in the best light, and go from there. I'm upfront about how strong your project or idea is for each grant program. So this is why I have quite a high success rate, because I will work with you to develop a program or project that will fit the criteria, meet those objectives, and have a really strong chance of being successful within that grant program. As I've said, grant applications are my thing. So allow me to work in my zone of genius while you continue to work in yours, and we can grow your business together. I do love this quote when it comes to grants: nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity, because what I'm finding is people just don't simply know the opportunities that are out there when it comes to grants. They don't know where to look, they don't have the time, and they sure as hell don't have the energy or the capacity to write or even think about a big grant application with no guaranteed success. And when we know that there's no guarantee of success in any business and there's always risks and rewards, but we need to have that knowledge and information available to us to work out whether this is a good use of our time, skills, and resources, which we know are all limited, to get that grant and that money into our bank accounts to spend on our project. So today I'm going to share with you my 7 steps to writing successful grant applications. This is my proven process that I use with my clients when I'm writing grant applications. And this is what has got me the 85% success rate from running my business and helping my clients to get that cash and that money into their bank account so they can grow, and grow. So first of all, it comes down to, what does success mean to you, for you and your business? Now, this can be and will be different for everybody that's out there. Success is very subjective, but I want you to think about, what does success mean to you? Is it having an X amount of revenue? Is it having a number of employees? Is it not really working in the business and just being a silent shareholder? Or is it being on the tools every day? What is success to you? And that's what we need to think about. We need to be making sure when we're finding grant programs that they align with our values and that they're going to bring us success, and making sure that we're not just scattering our resources and trying to just grab money here or there and then be left after a few years of like, oh, hang on a minute, that didn't quite work, wasn't really in line with our strategy, and it didn't really completely help us. So when it comes to writing grant applications, we want to make sure that we are organized and that we get all the information. And what I mean by this is getting the guidelines and collating all the information that has been released from the grant program. So this can be the guidelines. Sometimes they do FAQs. Sometimes they share what previous successful projects have looked like, the application form, and any other extra information that they've given us. There might be some templates. And there might be some other things that we need to make sure that we need to do. So collating all the information, reading it all first is the first step. And reading this criteria. So we need to make sure that we are eligible as a business, and that we're also, that our project is eligible as well. I've seen time and time again when people have at least started grant applications and got halfway through or a way of the way through and realize that they're not even eligible. So sometimes there's eligibility criteria around the size of your business, your number of employees, your revenue numbers, the length of time you've been in business, and same with your project. So what does the value of your project need to be? What can it be? Are there rules around how much money is going to be allocated from the grant, and whether you need to match the funds as well? So I always say to people, read the criteria one day, read it the next day and the next day, and just make sure you are doubly sure that you can apply and then you are eligible from a business point of view and from a project point of view. And this is what I do with my clients. When we find a grant that we want to apply for, then we make sure that we apply all our knowledge, and we read that criteria to make sure that from the outset we are confident that we can apply, that our project is going to fit within the criteria, and then we can go forward. Now, this is where we draft our outline. Now, what I mean for this, it's drafting our outline related to our project. What is it that we're going to do? What is it that we're going to spend money on? What do we need this grant for? And we need to be quite clear about this from the outset. So drafting, who needs to be involved? Is it a $50,000 project? Is it a $20,000 project? Is it one piece of equipment? Is it 10 different components? Do we need to get some drawings and scale drawings or designs? How are we actually going to do this? And then what I do is create a Word document with the application form and create a checklist of all the things, supporting documents that we need to attach to this grant application. Now, this is really, really important because, as I said earlier, we don't have much time. We don't want to be running out of time, and we don't want to miss something and not be able to submit later on. So creating that Word document, I share that with my clients and they update it. So that includes all the business information, that includes all the questions that we have to answer, it includes the templates and all the other supporting documents that we have to attach. So it basically turns into a checklist and a draft application form, so that later on we can copy and paste into the form and the application portal. Now, when it comes to grants, it's all about being prepared, being able to plan it and know what you need to do and who is going to do what. So once you have designed your project, working out what you're going to do, you create that numbered checklist in your Word document of everything that needs to be done. So we can't miss anything, and we're going to make sure that we tick everything off. Working out who's going to work on this. Is it going to be you? Is it going to be internal people? Do you need external people? And have that kickoff meeting to make sure that you're all on the same page, to work out that who's going to do what, and also make sure that people are aware of this tight time frame and making sure that their priorities of their work are still being managed as well. Now, it doesn't have to be me, but I do encourage you to work with an experienced grant writer who has written a lot of grants, but has also been successful in getting grants. So I've spoken to a few potential clients and inquiries lately where I had one guy ring that said, oh, my business partner says that he thinks he's a good grant writer, so he just does it, but we haven't been successful in any grants. And he was reaching out to me to say, hey, look, I need your help, Liz. How can we either train and teach my business partner to be better at writing grants, or to get him to understand that he was missing the point, and this was the reason why they were missing out on grants. So having experience, but also having success in grants and someone that knows what they're doing is really, really important. It will save you time, it will save you stress, and it will lead to a better outcome in the end. And I always say, when we're planning how we're going to do this, and I turn the grant application into its own project, think of it like you're applying for a job. What are all the components that we need to attach? Where are we going to get them all from? Who's going to get them? And we're going to plan to submit it a couple of days before it is due. A couple of reasons for that. If we need to get quotes or external documents, or we need to create those documents, we're creating a bit of a buffer. And we're also making sure that we're not going to be submitting at 10 to midnight when it closes at 11:55 with 5 minutes to spare and our computer crashes and there's no one on the other line to call and they won't accept it through email. And then we've wasted all our time because we haven't been able to submit it. So we need to plan to submit it early and then just create that buffer so that we're not stressed out, that we don't make mistakes at that last moment, and we have a better outcome. Now, thinking about this project, your project, how is it going to happen? And designing that project plan, because every grant application will need a project plan. Allocating those tasks and action to your team, and also communicating the deadlines to those people. And this will include internal and external people. So if you need to get quotes or other documentation or designs, you need to make sure that we know what we need, what the requirements are, and when do we need it by. Thinking about what costs are involved. So basically, what's your budget? What is it that we're asking for from the grant program? Is it money? Is it resources? Is it time? Quite often it's money. So we need that budget, and that budget has to be spot on. It has to balance, it has to equal, and we have to make sure we put the right figures into our application, because if our budget is wrong and doesn't add up, we will get a cross on our application straight away. Now, the next step is the biggest step in the preparation for being ready to write your grant application. So you notice here, we're already up to step 4, and we've gone through a whole lot of planning, working out that we're eligible, working out who's going to do what, planning it out, creating those timeframes and deadlines, and now we're going to go and get shit done. So what is really required for those grant applications? It might say a business plan. It might say a risk management plan. It might say a budget. Are there templates? Can we use our own templates? What detail do we need to include? Are there other documents that they want? A project plan? Do they want other documents that are related to our project? Now, writing letters of support. What is a letter of support? A letter of support is from another organisation or a group of people that are going to benefit from your project going ahead. So basically, they're supporting your project and they're writing a letter, which we draft and send off to them to say, hey, look, can you put this onto your letterhead and sign it and send it back to us? So we make it easy. But basically, we want that letter to say, hey, please support this project because it's a great project and it's going to benefit us in this way. So that really gives weight to your project and your grant application. And it also demonstrates that this project isn't just to fill your own coffers and your own bank account for your own benefit of your business or your organization. It has a wider impact in the community. Now, that is one thing that a lot of people aren't aware of. And more often than not, I don't submit grant applications unless we have a letter of support, whether they ask for it or not. Now, getting quotes, you need to be careful here around reading the eligibility criteria and the guidelines to see whether you need to include quotes or not. Some grant applications require them and some don't. So just make sure you know whether you do or not. And I always suggest for people to go and get a couple of quotes just in case you don't get them back, or one might be too high, or it might be really difficult to get them, or they just simply don't want to do them. Some people take, are saying, oh, well, we'll take a week to do a quote. And if we haven't got a whole lot of time, 2 or 3 weeks normally, then that is not much time. And unfortunately, something we can't do ourselves. So we need that external. We need to get onto it early, and we need to give them a deadline, and we need to be chasing up as well. Financial reports are making sure that your financial statements and your financial reporting system are up to date, because some grant applications will require you to attach the latest financial statements in your application. So we need to make sure that it's up to date. Sometimes this will be to prove that you have got the funds to match the grant, or sometimes it's to prove that you are a going concern and that you're a business with operations. Now, this step really is the get shit done step. We need to make sure that we've got all these documents, we've collated everything we need, we've worked it all out, we've developed our risk management plan, we've developed our project plan, and now we are good to go. And I don't start writing my grant applications until all of these things are in, because the quotes are really important. We need to know what our quotes are to build our budget. We need to know what our components are of our project to be able to answer these questions of how our project is going to have benefits and impact the community and have an overall positive outcome. So step 5. Now, this is where we start writing. Now, of course, in your Word document earlier on, you would have scribbled stuff down and started writing and all that sort of stuff. But now that we've got all our supporting documents, we've basically got the crux of what we're going to submit. And now we're going to bring it all together, answer the questions in a succinct and efficient way, and get our grant application finished. So again, we need to go back to the guidelines to read the key criteria to address. More often than not, they will give us the weightings of the assessments. So they'll say this question is worth 20%, this one's worth 20%, this one's worth 30%. The thing when it comes to writing the draft application, we don't know who's going to assess this. They know nothing about you, they know nothing about your business, and they know nothing about your project. So you need to write in really simple, plain English with no jargon, and making sure that we are including the absolute basics in the application and answering the question that they are asking. And making sure we check the word or the character limits as well. So now with the grant portals, they are quite sophisticated. You have to log in and have a password, and if it says limit of 150 words and we copy and paste 170 words, they will chop it off at 150 mid-sentence. So we just need to be careful of these wee little things that are going to help us or hinder us when we are writing our grant application. And those word and character limits, I make sure I put in brackets on our Word document so that when we are brainstorming at the start, we know, well, do we have to write our project summary in 100 words, 50 words, or 150 words from the outset, because they can be very, very different responses. And be rest assured, if you're working with me when we're writing a grant application, if it says 500 words, we will be using 499 words to get across what we would love to see in our program and to see our project being approved. So once we've done our draft application, stuck to our word limits, and then we're going to add in our why and our story. And as I said before, we make no assumptions that the assessors know anything about us, anything about our project. So we need to basically say why our project is the best project, why it should be approved, and why we should get the funding in the first place. So this is really, really important. And it's basically writing in a persuasive way. You really are pleading with them. This is the only opportunity you have for them to approve, and they will only be looking at the documents that you submit in this application. We also need to make sure we include the why your project is the best project with the most impact. And why does it meet the objectives in the best possible way? Because at the end of the day, the government funders or the funding agencies want the best outcomes. They want the best return on investment on their funds that they're giving out. They're basically outsourcing their work to us as private businesses or as community groups or not-for-profits. So they want a good news story, but they also want to be able to report the impacts, the jobs created, the benefits to the economy, the benefits to the community, and all those other externalities that are created from projects. And making sure we're including the benefits to the targeted audience and focus on the target audience of the grant program. So this is why it's really, really important to read through the grant guidelines and criteria at the very start, because if you're creating a project that impacts or benefits another group that's not listed as the target audience, it's not going to get approved. So we need to be really clear that we're matching that off properly, and that we are presenting a program or a project that is going to meet all those objectives in a big way. And lastly, once we've done all of that, we make sure that someone else reviews and reads your application. Now, I always get my clients to read through this, but we're checking for factually correct information. And we're also checking for grammar, and we're also checking that we're writing in simple language, that we're not including jargon. And if we are including jargon, we're explaining what it is, so that a lay person can read these grant applications. It's even a good idea to get someone to read it that has no knowledge of this project or doesn't know anything about your business. to see whether they can understand your project and see what you're trying to convey, because that will be how the assessors read it, knowing nothing about you or having no pre-information about you. Pressing submit on the application. Now, this can be really nerve-wracking and a stressful time for everybody, and even I get a little bit nervous, but I feel like I've got better at it lately. And so I'll either get my client to submit it after they've reviewed it, or some of them say, oh no, you do it, Liz. And I'm more than happy to do that. But basically, we just need to make sure that we're submitting well before the deadline, and making sure we're getting the confirmation email back, or that the portal has clicked over to submitted rather than draft or in progress. So I've had a couple of lately where the confirmation email hasn't come through, or it's come through a little bit later, and we have double checked because we don't want to miss out. People will not be able to submit by email, and they won't be able to submit late either. They've got really, really tough on that. And celebrate. So when we're applying for a grant, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work on top of what we're already doing. And this is why people engage me to write it for them, because that takes the stress off them. They're just doing minimal input. I'm extracting that information out of you. But what we are creating is a resource for your business, a resource that you can then use snippets of it for your website, for your publicity, for your social media. And it also becomes a bit of a reflection process, because you might have had to answer questions in the grant application that you've never even considered before. There might have been questions in there about what have you achieved in the last 12 months? What are your future plans for the next 12 months? And sometimes, this is why I say it comes back to strategy. Off the cuff, people can't answer that. And so going through this process has got them clear about where they're going, where they've come from, and what they want to do next. So it is really important to celebrate the fact that we have submitted a grant application, and that we're in the running for those grant funds. So it's a bit like a test or an exam. Once you've done it, you've done your study, you've done your assignment, you've handed it in, it's waiting for assessment. We can't do anything about it. So go and have that wine or that beer and celebrate, and then move on to the next thing in your business. So there we have it, my 7 steps to writing successful grant applications. Now, as I said, this is my process that I use every day with my clients, and it works really well. It's clear, it makes it easy for the client, it makes it easy for me, and I'm happy to say that 100% of my grant applications that have been submitted on time. So that's what we want. We don't want to miss any deadlines, and we don't want to miss out. So I do want you to think about, what was the biggest thing that you've just learned from what I've shared? If you wouldn't mind typing that in the chat if you want to, and sharing that with me around what was your biggest takeaway? What is it? What part of the process was the most surprising, or you weren't aware of? And I know some of you would have written grant applications in the past. Some of you will be completely new to this. So it just depends on where you're at and where you're at in your business or your organization. But, you know, I do hope that everyone has learned something that they can take away as an action item to get more confident about writing grant applications in the future, so that we can have successful outcomes. So I'll just check the chat. Yes, I can go back to create and design. So the create and design is really turning the grant application into its own project. So who's going to do what? What's the time frame? What are all the components? And basically allocating a project lead to make sure that everything is done by the certain time frame, so that we don't miss the submission date. So these are some of my clients that I've helped get grants over the years. And the thing with grants, especially here in Australia, they can be for a lot of different things. At the moment, there's more than 1,800 grants available across Australia, but that is across businesses, not-for-profits, community groups, sports clubs. But that's still a lot of grants. And so we need to find the 1 or 2 grants that your organisation is eligible for and get applying. So my question to you is, what is the difference between these businesses receiving grants and your business? Now, some of you might say, well, I don't know where to start. I have no idea about grants, and that's why you're on this workshop. So this is what we are talking about today, is how to write the successful grant applications, but also thinking about where can we find these grants. Here's some clients who are pretty happy because they've got money in their bank account and they've got their new pieces of equipment, and it has propelled and accelerated the growth in their business. So Kim and Matt from the Rethink Recycling Co-op in Melbourne, they got a $59,000 grant from Sustainability Victoria to build a trailer for their education service to be able to go around schools to teach children about recycling, and in particular plastic, and collect lids to be able to then turn that plastic into new products. Ben and Jessie, they got $27,000 worth of grants, which basically turned their side hustle into a full-time business for them. And Designer Cabinetry, they had success with a $107,000 grant for a piece of equipment, a CNC router in their cabinet business. That basically meant that they could double their production, and they were already booked out, and now they're already booked out again. So that has absolutely accelerated their growth and allowed them to provide better service to their clients and create more kitchens in the process as well. So now I'm going to show you how I can help you and your business to grow and expand with business grants. Here's some examples of some recent grants that have been out over the last few months in Australia. You can see that there are ones for community organisations in Ballarat. There's events ones. There are some professional services ones. There are some women's grants. There are grants that were rebates for if you bought an air purifier for your business. There's some health and safety grants floating around there in New South Wales. There are grants and subsidies for employment, and also some community and small business CCTV funds. So you can see that there are grants out there for so many different things. It's about knowing which ones you're eligible for and knowing which ones to apply for. So I'm just going to run through some common questions that I get asked. Can you help me with writing grants, Liz? And absolutely, I can help you write the grants. We can also help you find the grants as well in our membership. But writing grants, if you have a grant and you need it written, get in touch. This is a fee for service, so we will provide a quote, and then we can go from there and get it written. I don't have a business plan. Can you write one for me? So yes, I'm a big advocate for being grants ready, meaning when the grant program comes out, are we good to go? Have we got all our supporting documents? And if you don't have a business plan, we can work together to develop one together as well. My success rate for writing grant applications is 85%, which is pretty high, and I'm pretty proud of that as well. And that's largely due to being really confident about the projects that we're proposing and working with you on your strategy to develop programs and projects that are going to be meeting those objectives. And if they're not quite there, either working together to get them up there or just saying, hey, look, this grant's probably not quite suitable. Let's find another one, because I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to waste my time. And let's find another grant. How do I know what I need a grant for? It all starts with your strategy. So you need to think about what are the components of your business that you need to expand and want to grow, and how can you do that? Is it a new piece of equipment? Is it more staff? Is it an upgrade to your premises? Is it a new shed? Is it a new warehouse? All of those types of things. So that's what we need to be thinking about. What is our initial strategy for growth in your business? So what's next? Now we know how to write a grant application. What is next? Now I have created this membership, VIP membership for businesses and not-for-profits to come into the Grants Club VIP membership, where we basically take care of all your grants for you. So you're outsourcing it to us. We are searching for your grants. We are helping you find grants that are going to help you to grow and expand your business. We share, like we are today, our proven process on how to write grant applications. We help you write grant applications, and we'll even give you a special discount if you are a member. and we assist you and your business to become grant ready. So when we're talking about business plans, when we're talking about risk management plans, when we are talking about working out what our business criteria is so that we can work out what grants we can apply for. So it's a 12-month Grants Club membership initially with quarterly masterclasses. I've got other signature programs that are coming on board this year. There's a private Facebook group for learning and asking questions and being surrounded by other like-minded businesses who are also growing and using grants to grow. And we start with a personalized strategy call with me to go through that strategy to work out what are the elements and areas of your business that we can be looking for grants. So this is a value of over $5,000 and it's available in Australia only for $3,000 for the year, for the 12 months, or a monthly payment of $300. So if you do want to think about whether this membership is right for you, please do get in touch and I will pop my email address into the chat right now, liz@grantsclub.com.au. And that can be for businesses and not-for-profits as well. And if you want to talk about grants with me, and as I say, I can talk about them all day, do book in a 20-minute chat with me, and you can go to my website and click on that as well. I will also put all these links into the email that comes out tomorrow, and we can book in a chat. So you can either email me or hop to my website to book in a 20-minute chat about grants and how these can help you and your business or your organization to grow. And remember, if you have a grant application that you need written now, and we know we've got tight deadlines, do get in touch. I can provide a quote once I know what's involved in that application process, and then we can definitely start working together to get that grant application written for you. I also have the Efficient Business Community Facebook group that you can join for free. Just click on the QR code on the screen there. I would love to have you in there. It has actually been renamed to the Grants Club community, the free community. So I'd love to see you in there. And there is the website link to my website to take advantage of the Grants Club membership. As I said earlier, nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity, and that is no truer when it comes to grants, because we don't know what we don't know. If we don't know where to be looking and we don't know what grants are applicable to us, then it does make it really, really hard. But come into my membership, come and work with me, follow me on socials, Facebook, Instagram, connect with me on LinkedIn, or head to our YouTube channel where we have the recordings of the videos and the webinars that we've got. A masterclass has just been popped up there from yesterday, so do head down and check out our YouTube channel to watch that, where you can learn more about how to become grants ready. And if anyone wants to get in touch, please do email me or head to our website. And thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have all learned something about grants, and that can help you and your business or your organization to grow and expand and execute that growth plan. And I hope you all have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.